Hello, everybody. Welcome to Road to Endgame, our Marvel movie podcast. I'm
This is the show where we watch a Marvel movie a week and we talk about a Marvel movie a week leading up to Avengers Endgame.
sometimes 2 a week.
Sometimes two a week. Not this week.
Not this week. You're getting one short one this week because, boy, fucking howdy, was this movie bad.
There was like nothing to say about this movie.
It's just,
I'm Brandon Smith.
I'm Bronson Fiore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this was the first movie I tried out on the new soundbar.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, not a good way to start that out.
No. This was a movie that I spent $4 to rent on Amazon for this podcast.
At least you didn't.
I spent $4 on it.
At least you didn't buy it for $13.
I mean, I'm probably going to buy it anyway.
Oh, that just makes that worse.
Yeah. It's just like I was out and about and I didn't find it. So I was like, fuck it, I'll rent it.
The only reason I did buy it, because I knew it wasn't a great movie, but like
To round out the collection,
yeah,
right?
to have
that's the whole reason
all
why
of
I
them,
would buy it.
yeah. Fuck, it's
I have a few things to say about this. To start with, that the beginning like 18 minutes of the movie feel like an hour.
yeah.
I think like, okay, no, actually I know exactly where I want to start. I want to start with fucking Edward Norton as the Hulk. Boring as hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely and utterly fucking boring. I remember when Mark Ruffalo was cast as the Hulk for Avengers, and everybody was talking all this trash about how like Edward Norton was the perfect Bruce Banner and all this other stuff, and like, I'm like, really?
That's how I felt about this entire movie. It's fucking boring.
I mean, the
poorly-
Hulk's kind of a boring character.
Yeah, but you can do stuff around the Hulk to make him more interesting.
Right. I mean, the
And-
Avengers movies found a way to like, okay, because like, the whole thing about the Hulk is like, he's supposed to be like psychologically tormented, and it's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing, and that could be interesting.
Yeah.
But so far, they've made two standalone Hulk movies that, I mean, both of them are just...
Fucking awful.
They're
is the word
so
you're looking
fucking
for.
hard to... Because this one I don't think is like inherently awful. It's just completely forgettable slosh.
Just it felt like a late '90s action movie, like a mediocre.
It felt like one of the better early 2000s Marvel movies where like Marvel was like licensing out all of its rights to Fox and Universal and all them, and like this movie's better than like Daredevil or Ghost Rider or Fantastic Four or any of those.
Okay, I'll
but
give
it
you
feels
that.
like those movies.
yeah, which is like the entire time I was just like,
It certainly
Like,
doesn't feel like an MCU movie.
I went up to use the restroom twice, and I
Yeah.
was checking my phone in between taking notes.
Yeah, I was writing my Game of the Year script the entire time.
Yeah, like
I did not have a problem focusing on the Game of the Year script at all.
like
Normally, if I'm like trying to multitask and watch a movie and do something at the same time, every now and then, like I'll like just stop doing what I'm doing to just watch the movie, and this was not one of those situations.
I think a perfect example of this is like I think to the week prior when we were doing Iron Man.
Right.
I didn't check my phone once. I didn't go up to the fucking bathroom.
Right.
Like, I was like into fucking Iron Man.
Right.
Like,
And I mean, granted, Iron Man doesn't necessarily feel like an MCU movie the way that they are now,
Yeah.
but it feels like the jumping off point for the MCU. And I kind of my biggest problem with the Marvel movies to me is like that they all kind of feel like the same movie. You know what I mean? Like they all have the same tone, they all have the same style, the same like plot lines, like basic plot threads. This one, the biggest problem to me is that it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie, in that it follows just like the plot is so weird, and like the action is not nearly as good as like the one of the major like ups for the Marvel movies is that the visual effects are always fun. The action's always fun. I never feel like I'm watching something like just absurd. At one point, he like punches the fucking main villain into a tree. Like he just fucking punches him, and the guy goes flying into a tree and then gets hospitalized. And I'm like, what a lame fucking way to get hospitalized.
Also,
like,
I thought
you got hit by a tree.
Most of the CGI even for the era looked fucking bad.
Yeah.
Like real fucking bad.
Yeah.
Like
I thought the design of the Hulk was cool.
Yeah, I
but
think his design was cool. Just the CGI itself was really fucking bad.
All the moments where he had to slow down.
There were like
oh my God,
several moments where I'm like,
actually, the last fight looked pretty cool.
This looked like the CGI from like a PS2 cutscene.
Yeah.
Like if someone were to like take a PS2 game's like CGI cutscenes and in fact in some ways it looks worse than some of those, like because
the last fight between Abomination and Hulk like technically looks cool, but the action is so fucking ludicrous. It's like okay, like to put this into perspective, I just saw Aquaman. Bronson hasn't seen it yet, but that is some of the coolest fucking action I've seen in a superhero movie in a long time. Like, there are a lot of, like, long camera pans to follow the action, like, not a whole lot of cuts jumping between different scenes and stuff. It's like, you can see the action just fine. Black Manta is doing some fucking crazy cool shit that you'd never expect. Like, the action's insane in that, and it's, like, ridiculous and crazy in very much an Aquaman fashion. Mm-hmm. I feel like if you're doing the Hulk... This movie has this weird thing it like tries to do where it tries to justify everything that it does with some sort of science or real life like thing. Mm-hmm. And one of the bigger strengths of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that it doesn't really worry about the science of how things work. It doesn't really worry about like physics or anything like that. It just kind of knows like, hey, we exist in a world where, you know, Captain America and Spider-Man and Black Panther and all these crazy-ass characters that, like, wouldn't work otherwise, like, exist. So let's just fucking throw all of the real-world logic out the window and just start...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. I think that, like, it tries to do a lot of science justification. It's super fucking boring, and there's so many, like, scenes that are just weird.
There's, like, that scene where you, like, go to the fucking... scientist's house that's like trying to do tests on Bruce Banner and like figure out the gamma radiation stuff, and you can tell he's like hella into it or whatever, and he's just like all this like dumbass movie science babble.
The scene when he gets killed and he's all smiling,
and his head's like warping and shit, like oh, we're setting up the sequel, and like we never got a sequel,
never got much. If not, the only thing that returned from this was Ross,
right?
Which it's probably for the best, because he's probably the best part of the whole fucking movie.
It's weird, because Betty Ross doesn't show up in any of the other movies, but her brother does.
Yeah, that's...
Her brother's like a major player after Civil War.
It's weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, and then there's just...
She's actually kind of annoying, too. Like, the chemistry between her and Edward Norton is, like, non-existent. And Edward Norton's a great actor. Like, I fucking love him in Fight Club. I love him in Birdman. He's fucking awesome. But in this, it's like...
In this particular movie, he felt, like, so fucking robotic.
Yeah, yeah. They just didn't give him much to do.
One part that was super cheesy that I actually loved was the Hulk smash line.
I thought it was dumb.
I was like, this is dumb, and I love it. Like, this is so stupid.
What I hated about that was he said Hulk smash, and then he fucking smashed his fit. I literally just watched this before, like, heading over here, pretty much. Like, I watched this, took a nap, and then came over. And then, he, like, says Hulk smash. He smashes the ground cracks right as, like, Abomination is about to throw this thing, and then because he smashes it, Abomination, like, lets go of this thing that he's throwing, and it comes back down and bonks him on the head like a cartoon. And then Hulk attacks him, and I'm like, and that's the action of this movie in a nutshell. They're like, look, Hulk like runs into this thing, and it causes this thing to fly that way, which causes it to hit this, which means that it's gonna fucking hit the other guy.
Rube Goldberg machine.
Yeah, literally. And I'm like, why can't you just show Hulk destroying shit?
The thing,
you don't need to make this make sense.
The thing about this that just drives me nuts is like, at minimum, for, like, okay, the Hulk, can be hard to make interesting, he can be hard to write, like, fine.
It's not hard to make the Hulk interesting, though.
But it's really easy to make the action scenes for the Hulk fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. There are several, you look at later in the MCU, in Avengers.
Oh, yeah, and he's...
fucking...
They don't do the fucking bullshit Rube Goldberg shit. And I'm sure that was a director's decision of like, well, if you have this thing running around breaking shit, things are going to fly around. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to put that extra level of... What I mean by it doesn't have to make sense is that, like, you're already suspending the audience's disbelief enough that there's a fucking guy who, whenever he gets angry, mutates into this gigantic fucking... green destruction machine. You don't need to make the real world physics work in order to sell this concept. You just need to make it. Yeah. My favorite scene in the whole movie is when he and Betty Ross are like about to get down on the bed, and you hear his heart rate going up, and he's like, I can't get too excited. And she's like, not even a little excited? And he's like, no, I can't. And I'm just like, why is this in the movie?
What? Why did we need
why
this?
did yeah.
The Hulk cannot bang!
I just keep thinking about it, and I'm like, did the director watch Mallrats? And hear Banksy Edwards like asking fucking that was Banksy, right?
Yeah.
Did they just hear him fucking asking questions about like the Hulk's penis to Stan Lee, and then decide that he was gonna be the guy to answer?
He was gonna answer that question.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, man. Cause I
want to see the Hulk. I want to see the Hulk. Like, I want to see fucking Bruce Banner about to get down and like getting all like getting all excited and his heart's racing, and then he fucking morphs into the Hulk, and the Hulk's just pitching a tent in his fucking shorts.
Also,
it's like a gigantic Hulk-sized boner in his fucking pants. Tell me that wouldn't be funny.
Did you also the fucking dumb ass scene where it's like with the purple pants? Like what the stretch?
I know, like that was something that like superhero movies back then did that like used to piss everyone the fuck off.
You read comics, right?
Right.
Do you like the comic books?
It used to piss everybody the fuck off because not only was it like, look, it's a clever nod to those comics that you read, but also it's like, you're taking these elements that people fucking love about, superhero comics, or at least elements that are like part of the superhero comics, like the purple pants, and fucking like making them into a joke. And like expecting the comic fandom to like watch that shit and be like, wow, like what a funny fucking joke. Like this character is kind of ridiculous, haha. Like I'm trying to think of like another example. They used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like fucking Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. I actually thought this scene was kind of fine in Man of Steel, but like as an example, like in Man of Steel when they're in the interrogation room and Lois is like, what's the S stand for? And Superman's like, on my world it means hope. And she's like, well, here it's an S, so maybe we should call you and then it cuts it off, like right as she's about to call him Superman. That scene was okay. But as an example,
but it's still close enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, throughout the rest of the movie, they call him Superman, but it's still like, it's like, haha, I get it, Superman's a ridiculous name. I get it, the Hulk wears purple pants in the comics is funny. Like, what a funny fucking scene.
There are better ways to do nod to things in the comics. There's
rather than just poking fun at elements that people like about it or identify with the character.
Yeah, like they recognize.
That's the kind of shit that pisses me off because it's like all of these directors and Hollywood bigwigs act like they're fucking fans of the characters and that's why they do it, and then they make fun of shit that is identifiable with the character.
You talk about a movie that actually does that kind of stuff well. It's like Spider-Verse has all these cool nods to all
dude, yeah, superhero movies nowadays are great about that stuff. Yeah. That's actually one of the things that people hated about Captain America. I think was when he shows up on the stage and he's wearing the classic Captain America iconic suit, but it's not a movie version. It's just a shitty stage play version, and they're turning him into a joke. I remember people being he's wearing the classic suit, and they're all laughing at him because of the classic suit. Yeah, it's ridiculous, but and then he comes out with the armored suit, and it's badass.
Yeah.
Actually, that first Avengers suit is really cool. It's probably my favorite Captain America suit up until.
Yeah, it's still bright and shit.
It's still got all the spangly colors, but it's tactical and. Yeah, it's fucking dope. Up until Winter Soldier, that's the. Actually, even compared to Winter Soldier, I think I still like that one the best.
Yeah, because the newer suits don't feel like. Well, we'll get to that one.
We'll talk about that later, but
we got shit to say about the Hulk.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
what
just
was the reason that they didn't bring Edward Norton back? She just not
money.
Do it?
I think it was money.
Money.
Yeah, I think Edward Norton felt like he needed more money.
Why this movie's bad?
People liked it when it came out. I remember I think it has a 70-something% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No, fuck it. Where's my phone?
I'll look it up.
Where the fuck is my phone? I need confirmation for this.
People enjoy it. People to this day still think that Edward Norton's better than Mark Ruffalo.
I
think Mark Ruffalo's way more fun to watch. He's more entertaining. I'm infinitely more interested in what he's doing than I ever am with what Edward Norton's doing.
This movie, at the time I didn't like it, but I remember it being okay, and this rewatch, was so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Also, they killed Stan Lee. That was a bummer.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah. I thought it was a weird little cameo, like a weird... Yeah, this movie has a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes. Your monitor's all...
Oh.
Yeah.
Signal. Yeah, no. That's...
Does it still record while the monitor starts off?
Yeah. It has nothing to do with the monitor.
Wow.
It's just
Wow.
The monitor's like, there's no fucking, like, movement on screen, so we're turning you off. But no, yeah, it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck, man? Like, just... How? Even in, like, 2008, I can't imagine, like, walking out of this movie and being like, that was great!
People loved it.
It's weird.
I think the reason why, though, is because, like, that Ang Lee Hulk movie is even worse.
Okay.
Anybody who casts Eric Bana as Bruce Banner is, like, fucking high.
Fucking... God.
Edward Norton should be a good Bruce Banner.
Yeah,
he should be. Yeah. And with a more capable director who's not just, like, interested in emulating the old 80s TV show, who's, like, better at handling the more... Because that's the thing, like, the Hulk shouldn't be that hard to make interesting. The Hulk shouldn't be that hard to write in an interesting manner because he's such a psychologically driven character. Like, the whole thing is about about Bruce Banner's psychology and this, like, idea of, like, a multiple personality disorder, and he should be able to headline his own movie just fine and be, like, engaging and interesting, but the problem is
Universal has the rights for him right now, right? It's still them?
I think they have the rights to his solo movies.
Oh, right.
But Disney has the rights to the character. Like, they're not allowed to make a movie that's just the Hulk.
So they fucking put him in Thor.
Right. Which makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah,
Thor Ragnarok was fine.
It was a good movie.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I don't know, like, this movie was just, like, the director wasn't interested in the more psychologically driven aspects of the character, and you can tell because there are so many opportunities where you could talk about that, you can get a little bit deeper into it. Edward Norton was. Apparently he did a lot of the, like, rewrites for his own character in this, and he does that in all of his movies, I guess. Like, whenever he takes on a movie, he has to, like, have some sort of creative control over the writing, which I think is a little asinine, but... Maybe
when you're Edward Norton, you can do what the fuck you want.
Yeah, I don't know. I've read a lot of things about him being, like, notoriously, like, difficult to work with and being, like, kind of taking everything really, really seriously and being kind of a dick. So he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Whatever he's doing that's, like, asinine pays off because he turns in a good performance, but you know.
Yeah.
That shit happens.
Yeah, man, like, I don't... Oh, fuck it. And also, this is weird, like... So we get very little of the psychological aspect, but we also get, like, an hour into this movie without any meaningful Hulk action.
Yeah, there's, like, a scene where he, like, shows up in the dark and, like, throws people around.
Yeah.
In the dark.
So you don't see him, and then you get that tank, like, Humvee scene, like, way, way later.
Which sucks.
It looks like shit.
It sucks. It's supposed to be, like, one of the big action set pieces of it. And I get why you wouldn't want to bring the Hulk out, like, early on. Like, the idea is that you're not supposed to show the monster in full, like, right away. You're supposed to kind of... But if you wanted to do that, I would even argue that the better way to start this movie out would be with the Hulk.
Yeah.
Instead, they're, like, days without incident.
So, this week I'm not looking
at... shit, the ending. Sorry, go ahead.
I was actually going to refer to the beginning. I'm going my notes out this week. But this is one of the first things I wrote. That fucking dumb-ass first-person stuff in the beginning.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was awful.
Yeah, it was stupid. I think that was a shout-out to the TV show. I don't know enough about the TV show to call it out, but... We'll do a video
on that.
Probably not. I'm not watching the TV show.
Me neither.
But no, yeah, that shit was stupid. Let me talk about, like, this Days Without Incident thing.
Yeah.
Because you can tell... Because, okay, in the beginning it's like Days Without Incident, like 135 or whatever.
Which is like an interesting idea for the Hulk. Like, okay.
I think it's okay, yeah, but it's like a weird way to like bookend the movie because it doesn't continue at all. It only shows it that one time. Mm-hmm. And then at the very end, which is fucking the most obnoxious thing ever because it's like meditating, and it's like days without incident, 35, and then it like shrinks back down to 0 as he opens his eyes and his eyes turn green, which would have been a fine ending. Kind of a dumb, cheesy ending.
But like, okay, it's like, oh, he has control of it now.
Right. And then it cuts to the next scene, which is just Thunderbolt Ross in a fucking bar, and Tony Stark shows in, and it's totally supposed to be the post-credit scene.
But it's not.
It's not. It's just the last scene in the movie.
And they're fucking like, nothing comes to that. It's
just like Tony Stark shows up and he's like, we're building a team. And like, again, post-credit scene. Perfect post-credit scene.
Yeah. But like,
show Tony Stark connected to the greater universe. Like, that's cool. That would be a cool thing. You see like, the major player of the last one.
Alludes to the previous one's credits. I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers initiative.
Right, yeah. Really let people know, like, hey, this is a part of the same universe. The Super Soldier thing was... It would have been an interesting idea in another movie.
You want to know what movie that really fits in?
Captain America.
Captain fucking America.
I thought it was kind of an interesting idea to like try to emulate the Super Soldier program with the gamma radiation, but like I'm not a fucking I'm nowhere near like well versed enough in like science, like real life science and chemistry and whatever to like actually tell you whether or not the gamma radiation thing has any credibility. I don't think so. I think it's probably just dumb comic book nonsense. But, well, I know that it doesn't turn you into the Hulk. Yeah. I just don't know what gamma radiation is if it really exists. I'm an idiot, is basically what I'm saying.
We don't know science.
But,
well, we kind of know science.
I know video games and movies. That's it.
I know, like, computers.
Right.
Like,
I can tell you when using gamma radiation for a super soldier program doesn't work.
Yep.
I thought it was an interesting, neat little way to tie it into the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe and build a Captain America and whatever.
Like, we've been working on the super serum forever.
Yeah.
But then, like, the next movie is Iron Man 2.
Yeah,
and the one after that, Thor.
And then Captain America. They keep dropping all these little hints throughout the thing that, like, hey, Captain America's coming. And I remember being... Like watching these movies and like hearing about and I was like one of the few people that was like down with Captain America. I like wasn't sure how it was gonna work from like a
this character
diplomatic standpoint, because it's like so patriotic and so anti-Nazi that like I just didn't think it was gonna sell
and then
overseas.
And such this character that's just like so from the 1940s, and 50s.
Right. They ended up really making it work, but I just remember being hella frustrated with the fact that they kept like dropping hints at Captain America, and then eventually just being like...
Because like, there's a really blatant one in Iron Man 2, which we'll get to next week.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking like
It
shield.
starts in Iron Man 1.
Yeah. So
the shield shows up in Iron Man 1.
Yeah, and then also they mentioned like some stuff from his dad's legacy with...
Right. I didn't ever expect to get like a Captain America movie. Then we did. Well, I mean, like, back then, like...
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of weird to, like, see them drop all these hints at Captain America, who, like, is kind of one of the, like, Marvel's, like, A-listers. Even back then, like, everybody knew who Captain America was. And, like, suddenly people made fun of him just about as much as they make fun of Aquaman.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, about the same.
Yeah, back then, yes.
About the same back then. But, well, anyway, like, this movie's fucking a drag.
Fuck it. Like, I'm not a huge movie buff. I like movies, but like, I'm not like the way you are with movies.
Right. He's not he doesn't quite. I kind of study them a little bit.
Yeah, but like from someone who generally enjoys movies and like
pretty passive about it.
Fuck, this was awful. This felt like a punishment.
It was boring.
Especially,
I don't think it was quite like.
Also,
I don't think it was like a dog shit movie from the perspective of like just pure filmmaking. I just think it's boring. It's such a drag to get through.
Like also for me that's like one of the meanest things you could say about a like piece of like art or like immediate like something is like it's boring.
Yeah,
I would have something rather be like atrociously fucking awful.
Oh yeah, boring. Me too. 100%.
Yeah, like
looking at you, Sonic.
Yeah, like I would rather it be that like because like. It's not like Iron Man where I'm just fucking enthralled through most of the movie, or it's not like something like The Room.
Dude, I'm telling you gotta go watch Aquaman. It's like, it's not like awful bad. It's just like, it's really good. It's just like the action is so like out there, and there's so much lore about Atlantis that you never thought you'd get to. Like, this movie goes fucking all in on Aquaman lore.
It's currently second on the list of movies I want to see right now.
Right.
So it's on my
Behind
list.
what?
Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Oh yeah, you're a fan of that thing.
I'm a Disney guy.
Did not watch the first one.
It's a good movie.
Didn't really want to watch the first one.
Oh, it's a shame. It's a good flick.
I think it's because it came out the same time as The Last Bond.
Oh.
And I wanted to go see that, and everybody wanted to go see Wreck-It Ralph. And I got to stay true to my James Bond fandom over this like new Disney property that's trying to appeal to me. So.
Yeah. So what would you rate this out of 5?
Like a 2.
It's a 1 for me.
I'd put it at a 2. I think it's like it's gross to say it's the best Hulk movie. It is the best Hulk movie.
Thor Ragnarok is the best Hulk movie.
That's not a Hulk movie. That's still way more of a Thor movie than a Hulk movie.
I know.
That movie...
I would rather give it to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would rather give it to his one really awesome scene in Avengers.
Look, man, like, most of the cast is boring as shit. Like, I didn't get behind Betty Ross at all. I didn't get behind Edward Norton. I didn't get behind... The thing about, like, Mark Ruffalo versus Edward Norton is that, like, Mark Ruffalo brings, like, humanity to the character.
Yeah.
I feel like I can relate to Mark Ruffalo. I feel like whenever he's struggling with something, like, it feels very real, and it feels like it comes from a place of, like, real insecurity and anxiety, whereas, like... With Edward Norton, it's like he keeps telling you he struggles with these things, but he's not really doing a very good job conveying that.
The action looks like shit. The movie is slow and poorly paced. It's fucking boring.
Yeah.
Fucking God, this was like once again like just. I'm so glad we're over this fucking bar, cause like
yeah,
like I couldn't like just man. Fuck.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so...
It should have been insane. This movie should have been crazy. That's what I keep thinking. Like, I keep thinking, like, you could make a really deep, dark, psychologically intense Hulk movie. That'd be fine. I think it would be a great character for that. But you know what would be better? Is if this movie was just balls to the wall insanity. Constantly.
Yeah,
like, it just doesn't stop. The momentum doesn't slow down to, like, talk about, like... Bruce Banner's inner conflict, because we've seen that.
Just fucking...
We know what his struggle is.
This is 90 minutes of just the Hulk just fucking kicking the shit out of everything.
Right, yeah, I would love 90 minutes of the Hulk kicking the shit out of everything, and, like, maybe, like, 30 minutes of us, like, really taking an interest. There's a scene where they go to, like, this fucking... Okay, for some reason during the tank battle, it just starts raining. Fine.
Oh, but the best part about that is, like, they didn't bother to go full detailed with it, so you can still see, like, full sunshine water. And you also notice they aren't getting wet, but the Hulk is getting wet.
Right.
So...
I don't know, man. I thought it was ridiculous that it started raining. I thought it was... Because, like, yeah, that shit happens, but it's not that fast. Like, not nearly as fast. Like, I live in Reno. Mm-hmm. This place, the weather... The saying is, if you don't like the weather in Reno, wait 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The weather is constantly changing. It's too much weather. It's just fucking stressful because you, like, always have to bring a jacket and a fucking tank top. You never know what it's going to be like outside. So it could start raining in a flash. Mm-hmm. But even then, it takes about, like, 5 minutes before that rain starts, like, really pouring. Probably longer than that. Probably, like, 10 minutes. Like, 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, then, like...
This movie just starts pouring.
Like, not only that, but, like, it's just...
And they almost fucking killed Betty Ross in that scene. She should have been dead. She should have been dead. And then her fucking father goes and talks to the guy that, like, she's been hanging out with. I don't know if it's, like, fiance or whatever. I don't know. Like, that guy with the dark hair. You know what I don't know what his... Half the time I don't know what the fuck this movie's trying to do. That's the biggest problem with this movie. I was watching this movie and I was like, who is this for? Like, what is... the point of this scene? Like, what is this scene trying to tell me? What is the director trying to do with this?
So the final concept...
Why did I need to see a scene where the Hulk, or where fucking Bruce Banner explains why he can't get a boner? I didn't need that.
The final consensus on this movie, it's fucking awful.
Okay, but let me get to this part, because I actually want to talk about it.
Close this up.
This is a little fucking annoying. This is annoying. They're in the tank battle, right? Shit explodes. Betty Ross almost dies. Next scene cuts to, like, fucking Thunderbolt Ross at Betty's house, and that dude with the dark hair, whose character I completely forgot, is just sitting there bitching him out because, like, even though he was the one who turned Banner over to the fucking government, he was like, I can't get behind you because you almost killed Betty. And her dad's like, she's a fugitive now. Like, she's a fugitive of the government. And I'm like, why is this scene in here? What's the point in this scene? This is dumb. You're just fucking arguing about whether or not your own daughter, who you almost killed, was like a fucking thing. And then he was like, the Hulk almost killed my daughter. And he was like, you almost killed your daughter. Like, half this movie is just the characters yelling at Thunderbolt Ross about being a jackass. I'm like, oh my god. I don't know what this movie's doing. But I'm glad we're not coming back to this version of the Hulk world. It seems like we're kind of done with this shit.
Fucking god. It's awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, you probably shouldn't watch this. Or, I mean, if you are gonna watch it, fucking...
Get drunk.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't encourage underage drinking, but...
Maybe for this.
You're gonna kind of do whatever you want anyway. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah. We'll be back next week with Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good movie from what I remember.
It's alright.
Bye, all. Oh, social media at the Gamer Access. Bye.
Jesus Christ.